Welcome to Money Convos, where we discuss personal finance and investment tips. We're committed to helping people create wealth and achieve financial freedom. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. All right then, let's head into today's conversation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into today's conversation. It promises to be an interesting one of my favorite topics as an investment professional. So thank you for joining so early. We would start in a few moments as more speakers join. Prince, it's nice to see you in the audience. I'm still looking forward to a day when you step up and join us as a speaker.
Hello,
Hi, Jennifer. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, and you?
I'm good. Good. I guess these days, now that you've joined us, you won't have to be doing prices and you can be joining more regularly. In fact, this is good.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Hi, Prince. Nice to have you here.
Shout outs to Miss Ifriye. You would see her as MS. She doesn't like attention, but I like to give her I like to give her fans so the attention will shine on her nice forehead that showing there.
If you hadn't said the crowd, I've been surprised.
Oh yes, yes. She really supports us in the background. She hypes us on social media and so looking forward to it. Oh yes, David, welcome.
Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. Jennifer, Elikem, everyone here. Prince, Miss, Kwesi, Akusia, Chachu, Samuel, Mauko. Hello to you all from my little corner of the world.
From your little corner where you determine who can say what.
Oh, Master Jai. I don't determine squats.
Okay, if you say so. So, wow, okay, we've got quite an audience so far. So, I was just talking to Mimi on the side. I hope she's joining soon. Prince said he would join in a listening mode. I see some hands up already. So, it's going to be quite an interesting conversation. Sarah, welcome to today's conversation. How you doing? How's your week going? Hi, Sarah, can you hear us? Yeah, I'm muted if you are speaking. Alrighty, I'm sure she's figuring out her mic. Okay, I see a hand up. So before we start, interesting. Let me invite Kojo up. Let's hear what Kojo wants to share before we kickstart the room. Or maybe there's something wrong with the functionality. I'm not able to. Okay, there you are. Hi, Kojo. Nice to see your hand up so early. I don't recall us interacting on Clubhouse before.
Not at all. I am a complete stranger. Not necessarily a stranger, but I know Papa No. And it was through Papa No that I got to know about this room. And okay. I'm so excited to hear what you guys have for us. So, yeah, that's why I'm here. And So.
Great. Thank you. David, thanks for spreading the word. And Kojo, thank you for heeding the call. I hope we will make it worth your while. Okay.
I hope so.
All right, so let's head into today's conversation. Usually, I'm the host, and I ask our panelists questions. Last week we spoke about cryptocurrency, so this year, we are starting off with looking at certain investments that people can consider different, not the normal type of investment. So we started with cryptocurrencies. Today, we are talking about something that's on a lot of people's minds: to invest in Cedi or dollar investments. And I must issue this disclaimer. This is a recorded session. I'll be doing a lot of the talking. I have sort of an audio presentation, and then I would invite some questions up to answer. You can message me through the chat function if you want to get my attention before we get to that point. So yeah, any expectations from our panelists before I head into this conversation? David?
Oh, me there, I'm not necessarily. I just want to see things from a different point of view, right? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes I argue. Well, I have my opinions on the two of them, but then I also I'm open to unlearn what I think and maybe learn something new, right? So I come in with zero expectations and just ready to learn.
Okay, great, great. Okay, and I know it's some in a conversation some months ago. This thing came up, and I remember I can play back in your voice. It's like, oh, massa, investment. I mean, 10%. Oh, dear Brahmini Biama. I think you said something like that. So I've been looking forward to this conversation where we can, you know, trade opinions and see what you think. Okay, all right. So I would just like to make some disclaimers as we have this conversation. This is not investment advice. Yes, it's a recorded session. We'll be putting it out on a podcast and YouTube for you to hear, and it will be available in Clubhouse through the playback function. So, but I don't want, as it will be spread widely, I would like you to put it in perspective. It's not investment advice. I want to share some facts and also share some of my opinions as a practitioner in the industry. And in my line of work, I manage funds for high net worth individuals. So this conversation comes up very often. They have sufficient capital to consider a myriad of investments. So dollar investments are just natural for them, you know. So it's something that we think about, and I want to share this. Also, I as a patriotic citizen, I must admit the Minister of Finance, the Bank of Ghana, the government will not be happy with you if you are considering dollar investments. A previous Minister of Finance said, used to say, talk up the economy. So the more you do, the more you do dollar investments, the more you push down the city. So they may not be so excited about you thinking about dollar investments, right? Then also the conversation, the things I'll be talking about in this is in the scope of financial investments by licensed financial institutions. All right. I appreciate that you can do some dollar investments with other types of institutions. You can do it crypto, but I'm looking at in the Ghanaian space of what is a licensed investment, a licensed financial institution. We are looking at those regulated by the Bank of Ghana, the Securities and Exchange Commission. So that's really the scope I'm trying to give, and to people in Ghana or people who can have access to these financial institutions in Ghana. So you may even be in the diaspora, but you can open accounts with some of these institutions. So that's what I'm looking at. So granted, you can do other investments denominated in dollars, but this is the scope I want to um, discuss at this point. We can expand it in the conversation and put those things in context, right? So yeah, what's my personal opinion on this? I think if we are talking about investing, then the CD's depreciation is exaggerated, right? If you are in Ghana, you are living in Ghana, you are earning your income in CDs, you are spending in CDs, all your expenses are in CDs, then that's really plain vanilla. You may be considering a dollar investment because you've heard or you've seen, you've experienced prices are going up, the CD's depreciation is causing the dollar to go up, and when you need to buy things, the cost is higher. You know, so it gets you more worried about the dollar, and so you say that, Arthur, why don't I just invest in a dollar investment, put my money in a dollar investment so that I don't lose value? You know, someone is thinking, I have to pay professional exam fees, ACCA, CIMA, FRM, CFA, or some school fees in future. So why don't I just put the money in a dollar investment so that I have I buy $100 now, and later that $100 will still be $100, as opposed to my 630 CDs right now that I think is $100. You know, in 2 months' time, I have to add an extra 50 CDs to make up that same 100, right? So it's really about the CDs depreciation that gets us thinking about this. I think it's exaggerated. If you are a business person who has transactional need for dollars, I totally understand you. You just imported some goods. You have to clear them. The CD is running. They are valuing the stuff in dollars, and so the duty is going up. Just recently, they even said they are canceling the 30% reduction in the benchmark value thingy. That's so cost clearing the your goods is going to be even more expensive. And granted, as the business people are feeling the pinch, they'll pass it on to read the consumers. Things will be more expensive. I get it, transactional needs, right? But chances are not a lot of us actually go and transact in dollars. You see people house prices in quoted in dollars. That's one thing. You could pay the CD equivalent for it. Yes, that's true. But that's a transactional need. But remember the scope of the conversation we are having. We are talking about an investment. So if you are looking at an investment, I can imagine one of your goals is to make the highest possible return, right? So we start from that point. Simply put, where can you earn the highest return? Chances are you are likely to get a higher return in cities than in dollars. That's just the preamble. I'll get into the details a bit, but I don't want it to seem like I'm saying don't do dollar investments. Let's consider under what circumstances would someone want to consider dollar investments before we really get into the comparison, right? This is someone who has future transactional needs for dollars. You are saving up to pay for college fees that will be in dollars. You are saving up, maybe your child attends an international school that will pay in dollars, that you pay the school fees in dollars or is pegged to the dollar. So you are your investment, you want to put it in a dollar investment that can prove that would make you pay it off in dollars. That's fine. Then that's good. If you are you are a Ghanaian living abroad, like David, chilling in is it Virginia or Maryland?
Maryland.
Maryland. He's chilling in Maryland, in his nice big car or his wife's big car, and you intend that when you invest, even if it's in Ghana, you will spend the money in the US. So you send the money back to the US to spend it. Then perhaps, just keep your money in dollars, because changing it to CDs and then changing it back to dollars, the bank charges, the spread, you buy it at one rate and you sell it at another rate. So you'll be losing in that transaction. So why not just keep your money in dollars and you don't have to worry about the CD depreciating? That's fair. That's the kind of situation you have. Another situation is when you may still you may not have a transactional need for dollars, but you've got a dollar opportunity that the return is very good. By very good, maybe 13, 15, 20% on the dollar, and you consider it to be more reasonably safe, then fine, you can consider that kind of investment, right? So yeah, it really boils down to, in my opinion, it boils down to what's your need and what return are you gonna get. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's say I say it's mainly about the return, your need. Now, need is subjective, right? So let's focus on the more objective ones. If someone's goal is to get the highest possible returns, then let's ask what goes into making someone get returns from an investment. It's one, the interest rates that you see quoted, they compensate you for a number of things. One, the general increase in the price of goods and services, that's inflation. So you may hear that inflation is 12.5%. Yeah, don't worry. The government of Ghana 91-day Treasury bill interest rate is 12.3 or so percent. So you are fine. You get that protection from the interest rates that the 91-day Treasury bill is giving you. So you have some extra cushion. Okay. The next thing interest rates are compensating you for is your time. You were patient enough. So because you were patient and you didn't spend your money, then the person is going to the person who has borrowed your money is going to compensate you for the time. Apart from just the fact that because you kept your money with him, it lost value in terms of what it could buy. Now the wachi, if it's, let's say, wachi 2 CDs, I'm sure this year you've observed the wachi 2 CDs Right now, as you are buying the two CDs, the America is eyeing you sideways, inflation, and then there's the you are patient, so you are being compensated for your time. Then there's also the risk, and that's why government of Ghana investments are usually low, have the lowest rates that you can get in the market, because it's considered that the government is the safest investment. I wouldn't say it's 100% safe. Some governments, Argentina is a popular one, have defaulted in the past. But you can look at it as worst case scenario, they'll print the money and give it to you. They have that kind of power. So it's quite safe an investment. All right. So all these things have been priced into the return that you are getting. And another major part of it is when you look at Ghanaian investments, I'll take the listed bonds. Bonds are like, they are, let's say, the government bonds. They are treasury bills that are listed and they run for more than a year. Technically speaking, the notes that's 1 or 2 years. That's a note, but let me just generally classify all of them as more than 1 year support. Usually, the foreigners play in it. So I was just looking at some data as at November. Our bond, when you take our bond market, foreigners make, in terms of investments, foreigners make up, is it 17.4% of government of Ghana investments. All right, that means we have to attract them. Throughout 2021, the highest point was 23% as at September. So in September, foreigners were in our market of 23% of our market. That means for a foreigner to leave his country, let's say the US, so perhaps David's neighbor or even David himself in Maryland, for him to say that I'm going to leave America, I'm not going to consider American investments, I'm going to consider a Ghanaian investment, they have to be compensated for the fact that after they do their investment, when they are converting it back to the dollar, the Cedi's depreciation may erode their value. Right? If it were a case of they can bring $10,000, convert it into CDs at the end of 1 year, they take it back and they can still get the same $10,000. That would be good. But where the way the dollar goes, that $10,000 when they convert it to CDs and they are converting back, let's say at a rate of let's say 5 CDs to a dollar or 5. So $10,000 came and he got 55,000 CDs. If he's taking that same $10,000 back, 55,000 CDs won't be enough. It's the CD against the dollar went to about 6.1. So now he needs 61,000 to get back that same $10,000. So David will be thinking about that. The foreigners will be thinking about this. That if I'm taking my money back to my country, I need to be compensated for the CD's depreciation. So that thing that you are worried about, the CD's depreciation, guess what? It's already been priced into the interest rates because we need foreigners to also invest in our bonds. So a portion of it has been priced in there. I could end at this point and say, you know what, don't worry doing dollar. It's been priced in, so you are fine. All right. But let me get into a bit more detailed. Other things that you should consider, right? The reason why I would say if you are Ghanaian, you don't have transactional need for dollars in future. And if you were to do a dollar investment, you convert it to, you convert your CDs, you've earned your income in CDs, you convert it to dollar, invest it, and then when you need the money back, you convert back to CDs, to spend it in CDs. That's your scenario. Hear me out, right? One, there are not many options for dollar investments. I mentioned from the top that the Bank of Ghana wouldn't be happy with you. So they actually put in a lot of measures to make investing in or transacting in dollars very difficult, right? Very, very difficult. There was some time back in Ghana, I think this was in 2014, when the Cedi depreciated 39% against the dollar. No, 32.4%. That was in 2014. In 2015, it did 15.6%, right? Yes. In those times, I get it. We were very concerned about the cedi's depreciation against the dollar. And at the time, even the Bank of Ghana brought in a lot of strict controls. You couldn't move our money around in dollars. You have to bring a lot of documentation just to discourage it. And if you've been trying to do any business in dollars since October 2021, you realize that it's become more difficult, more documentation, because on a normal day, in Christmas season, people are importing a lot of goods. So maybe just a basic understanding of why the cedi loses value against the dollar. When a lot of Ghanaians are using their cedis to go and exchange for dollars, and the dollar becomes more demanded, and because it's more demanded, it becomes stronger. It's valued more than the cedi, so its value would increase while the value of the cedi decreases. So as we are importing more goods, we are importing more chicken to chew during the Christmas, we are importing more tomatoes, importing more rice, we are importing a whole lot more things, toys to give to children for Christmas. That there's extra pressure on the cedi, so it will lose value against the dollar as more people are bringing cedis to try to get dollars so that they can go and import goods. So around these times, you realize a lot of capital controls. We are trying to do some investments, and we are stalling because of these strict measures by the Bank of Ghana. And the Bank of Ghana is a very powerful institution, especially if you're a financial institution. You flout their rules, and you'll be in big trouble. So those kind of controls make it difficult for people, for banks to have options for people to invest in dollars. So I encourage you, try with your banks. Ask them if they have any investments in dollar terms, and see if they will have something for you. Chances are it will be rare, and the minimums may be high. Right. Another thing too is, yeah, with the minimum transaction, it would not make sense for you, or someone who wants to do $100 every month. You may not have options. Now this is why I rope in David. David, tell me, if you were to do a normal a money market mutual fund in the US, what return would you be expecting in dollar terms?
Something in the low single digits, maybe anywhere from 3 to maybe 5, 6, 7%. Oh wait, no,
Three to
yeah, like less than 5%, pretty much.
less than 5%.
Yeah,
Thank you, thank you. Now let me ask, Kojo, are you in Ghana?
No, I'm in Virginia.
Hey, Burgers are landing. Okay, okay. Let me see. Look, let me find a look someone. Bridget had raised her hand. Bridget, if you're in Ghana, or even if you're not, I'm trying to bring you up so uh, you can come up if you are ready. Let me ask you if hopefully you can answer this for me. But while we are waiting for Bridget, um, Mimi, we haven't heard your voice yet. Mimi, if I asked you, you are in Ghana here with me. We feel on Kwanchen here. Yeah. If you were to invest and I told you I'll give you a return of just 5% or 3%, would you take that investment?
It depends. I mean, first of all, I would have to take into consideration the depreciation rate plus.
No, this is a CD investment. CD investment.
In Ghana,
Yeah,
3%. No,
3%.
no,
You
I'm
wouldn't
not
take it.
3%.
Jennifer. Okay, thank you, baby. Jennifer, how about you?
Okay. So I also wouldn't take it. And the reason why I wouldn't take it is because number one, if you are giving me something, it should at least be better than inflation. And
Mm-hmm.
inflation is higher than 3%. So I'm not going to take something that is lower than that. And I also didn't get your question. Is it a public organization, like a government
Yeah, it's a
organization,
financial
or
institution.
let's
Yeah,
say
we
a
are talking
private
about
financial
investments offered in a
institution?
private.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to take
Mhm.
I'm not going to take something that a private institution is giving me 3% when I can get it from the government higher than 3%. Thank you.
Okay. Great, great, great. Okay, so we already see that those kind of returns are not attractive for Ghanaians. We are not used to that. But the reality, like David mentioned, is for dollar investments is like that. Our treasury bill, 91-day treasury bill, is around 12.3%. In the US, 91-day treasury bill, David, do you know that number?
I was actually about to find out what it is. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, but LIBOR, 12, even 12-month LIBOR is around 0.7%. See if I have that sheet still open. It's very small. You'd be lucky to get something good. But we are talking about safe investments. I'm comparing the 91 Ghana 91-day Treasury bill to the US, and it's 0.2 thereabouts percent, not 25%, 0.2%, right? And of course, Ghana is way more risky than the US, so it's understandable. But I'm trying to get you in the mind of how dollar investments return. I'll now use some Ghanaian examples. If you want to do one popular one is the government of Ghana Eurobonds. It's like a treasury bill, but it's long term. It goes Some go for 3 years, some go for 5, 7, 10 years. Some will mature in 2040. So by then, David would have been retired for how many years? Yeah. Some go for a long time, such a long time that if I tell you to put your money away, you say that's too long. But anyway, those are the kind of investments that they are, and their returns now that they are elevated, it's around 11%. But in normal times, you should be looking at 7 to 8%. All right. So then, for you in Ghana, in thinking in CDs too, you have to combine two things: the return you'll be getting on that dollar investment, let's say 8%, use normal times, 8%, plus the city's depreciation. Now, can anyone give me a wild guess or any thoughts about what they think the city's depreciation is? I mentioned from the top that I think there's a lot of exaggeration about how fast the city depreciates. So let's see. The professionals are here; they would know. Okay, Prince, what do you think was the city's depreciation rate against the dollar? I'm sure you've are you in a position to talk? You mentioned you may not be able to. Okay, Mimi, how about you?
Not aware at the moment. I haven't checked.
Okay, but how do you feel it is from the way people are talking about it? I'm sure you've heard people complain about the city's depreciation, right?
Yeah, actually,
Or
I heard. Actually, I heard of the figure yesterday. It's just, but I think it's still in the single digits. I've forgotten the figure. I heard it
So
was.
I read somewhere a few days ago there's like 2.67 thereabouts.
okay, yeah, and yeah,
I think that
so
was
say like Mimi said,
20. I think I heard it was 7. I'm not too sure. I've forgotten. I think.
Oh wow, okay.
oh no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. For so the figure David was mentioning around 2.7. That was somewhere in October, but December it got really bad. So in December, the city depreciated quite a bit. So for the year 2021, we ended at 4.09%. I'm using interbank rates. Uh, Jennifer, am I correct?
Yes, you're in the vicinity. Yes, please.
Yeah, so 4% depreciation. But remember, I was talking about some years ago. So let me mention some numbers. 2011, 8%. 2012, almost 16%. 2013, 12.8%. 2014, 32%. 2015, 15.68%. 2019, almost 9.6%. Then now 2017, 4.8%. 2018, 8.3%, 19, almost 13%, 2020, 3.9%, 2021, 4%. Right. When I crunch the numbers, in the it's like a 10-year period. In the first half of that 10-year period, the average 5-year was depreciation was 17.47%. So yeah, those of us who are older and remember those days, yes, the city's depreciation was a problem. But now let's think more recently. In the more recent 5 years, it's been the average is 6.9%, where in the most recent 2 years is done 2021 4%, 2020 3%, 2019 now that was a bad year 12.9%, 2018 3%. It's getting you to see that there are certain structural changes in the Ghanaian economy that make the city's depreciation lower in recent times. And so, looking forward as an investor, this is not investment advice, but I encourage my clients. those scary times when the city's depreciation was so high, are permit me to say, are kind of behind us. So calm down a bit, all right? Things could change. Things could change. Things could turn for the worse. But I'm operating with the information I have now and what's going on now and what's likely to happen in future, right? So in light of that, I'd ask if you are getting a return of 7-8%, how much return and how much CD depreciation do you need consistently every year to make up for a similar Ghanaian investment that you can make and return 18%? A 1 year treasury bill is about 16 or 17%. A 3 year, 5 year, you're looking 18 to 19%, right? If you want to invest proper, we wouldn't be talking about even 91-day treasury bill. You should go long term, 2 years, 3 years. A lot of people can do that. The Data Bank M Fund, Stanbic Fixed Income Fund, the safer the mutual funds that do safer investments, they are returning 18, 19. So if you're at 7%, you need as much as 10% in CD depreciation to bring you close enough to those kind of investments. But mind you, you'll be doing a 15-year government of Ghana Eurobond to do what a 2 year CD is doing. So that kind of gives you the context, all right? I want to pause at this point to see if I've confused anyone. Did that comparison make sense? David, did it?
Yes, it did.
Okay, great. Kojo, how about you? Perhaps I was getting too technical. Did it make sense?
Again, I'm now getting into the whole inflation and all that, system. So I'm new, so it's fine. It will take time. It will simmer. So you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So I'll take that again. Thank you, Kojo, for your feedback. If you if you are investing in dollars and you are getting 7 to 8%, for you to catch up to a similar CD investment, which is returning 18%, which is very doable. I think Data Bank M funded 19% for 2021. So you can just imagine and these are considered similar safe investments. You need 11 to 12% CD depreciation to catch up to that consistently every year. That means you are betting on the CD to lose 10%, 12% value every year consistently for you to make up for doing the dollar investment. Looking at the returns I mentioned in the past, I really wish Clubhouse could let us put up pictures so that I show you the table so that I could be referring to it, but it's not there. Most recent 5 year average of 6.9%. 2021 was 4%, 2020 was 3%, there was 2019, bad year, granted, almost 13%, then 2018 was 8.3%. It fluctuates, it changes every year. But can you really bet that the CD will do that badly, 10, 12% every year consistently? If you can, fine. The dollar investment is for you. We can look at some options for you. But if you can't, and you really want to make pure return, why not just do a CD investment, lock in that 19%, 20%, or even 17% for the next 5 years? Go to sleep. You know it's stable. Now, when you do it even in dollars, you see that the CD depreciation part fluctuates. Every year is different. So in 1 year, you think you are making a certain return of maybe, let's say, 10%. When you convert it to CDs, it's 10% return. Next year, it may go down to 7%. And I had clients like this in the first 9 months of 2021, significantly invested in dollars, and the CD wasn't depreciating fast enough for them to make sufficient return. If you are in a position where you actually need your returns, your investment returns, that's the profit you are making on your investment, the interest, to be coming to you to pay bills, you won't get sufficient money to pay those bills. So it's something you really need to consider. So for my clients, for a lot of them who don't have transactional need for dollars, we're actually considering selling off their their dollar bonds, their dollar investments. or at least a portion of it, so that they can earn substantially higher returns. So it's something that you really want to consider. If your goal is to make the best possible return, the city is likely the better bet for you, and it will keep things stable for you, right? But still, don't forget there are certain scenarios under which the dollar would be important. So I think I'm almost through with my monologue. I'll just mention some other cons of investing in dollar. For you to get those higher returns that I mentioned, you may need a dollar investment that will provide maybe 10, 15, 20%. Now you stop moving out of safe regions. The government of Ghana is not going to give you that kind of return. Some of these financial institutions, if they'll give you an investment, they probably won't even do that. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of investment are you going to do to get that kind of return? You need to be concerned about that. Also, remember, if you are earning your income in cedis and you are going to convert to dollars, well, when you go to the bank, you are going to do that foreign exchange business with them. You are not going to be in a winning position. They are always going to make a profit off it. Then when you are coming out, they'll make some more profit off it. So there's that. And even if you are not going to the bank, you are going to what's the term? The Alaji at one corner. He's there to make profit. You are not going to make profit from that foreign exchange transaction. So especially if you want to invest for just 3 months, 6 months, a lot of Ghanaians like these short-term investments, 1 year. You are going to get hits like 2-3% just doing that, going in to dollar 2-3%, coming out of dollar to the cedi another 2-3%. You've already lost like 4-5%. And then how much return did you get in dollars? Oh, 7%. Masa, okay, now buy. So if you want to do dollar too, you really need to be thinking long term. So that if this year you get hit 2-3%, 10 years later you get hit another 2-3%, fine. You've already made 7 times 10, 70% return. If they take out some 2-3%, you don't mind, So these are some of the considerations I make my clients go through. And also maintaining a dollar account is expensive. There are lots of charges. I wouldn't get technical, but it also stems from the Bank of Ghana wanting to make it discouraging to do dollar investments. And if you want to cash it, some people like to hold physical dollar cash. No problem. They'll charge you a cool 1% with their friendly banks, 3% with some of these banks that like to charge a lot, 3% of your money just gone. You want to transfer the money to another account, $50, $350. Yeah, okay, we'll see $300 and $500 or $1,000. Calm down, do it in cedis, okay? Or if it's bigger and you want to send the money to David in the US, that's 1% of it plus maybe $250 for Swift. So the money just keeps getting eroded by all these charges. So you really need to think about your individual situation. What works for you? Don't buy into the hype. If you are thinking as an investor, thinking long term as an investor, don't buy into the hype that the cedi is losing value. So let me also run and go and get dollar investments. Pause, ask yourself, what is your individual situation? Under what circumstance will it make sense for you to do a dollar investment? Mainly if it's transactional, if you plan to spend the money in dollars, and especially when it's going to be a long term, and you have sufficient return on that investment. So yeah, that's my monologue on cedi versus dollar. Pardon me if it wasn't too much of a balance, but it's really need based. That's how investing works. I can't tell you, okay, do this, don't do that, but it's all ifs and buts, and yeah. So I'll be fielding questions now. I mentioned there was a hand up from Bridget. Bridget, I've messaged you, and you can drop your hand and raise it again so that I bring you up. It's not bringing you up. And let's all remember it's a recorded session going on our podcast, going on our YouTube channel. So strongly encourage you to join in the conversation. Let's share the knowledge. Yeah, while we wait for questions, Jennifer, Mimi, David, Prince is in the background. Kojo, if there's anything you want to add to the conversation, please go ahead and ask. You can flash your mic and let me invite you up.
So I have a question. I think before you started the presentation, you mentioned that there are certain banks, or you said you'd mention some banks where we can invest in the diaspora. So I don't know if I missed that. Can you also if you can add some sauce to that, that'd be great.
Okay, so a good place to look at is, especially for you in the diaspora, find out which banks have an international presence. Chances are they have already set up these kind of networks, and they know they are attending to people in foreign countries, so they need to provide them US dollar investments. So international banks like um, Standard Chartered Bank, ABSA is across Africa, so you could consider international. Echo Bank, um, Stanbic Bank, Zenith GT Bank. These are the more international ones. You could still try the Fidelity GCB. See, they also have quite high net worth individuals, so chances are they've been having some products for them. On the investment side, there's Data Bank you can consider. Yeah, there are it's really call up any financial institution in Ghana, licensed financial institution, and see what options they have. But chances are, if they are international, they have something ready for you.
And I know Barclays has a relationship with Bank of America too, so they
Yes,
might also
yes.
have something.
That's ABSA. So now that's ABSA. So yeah.
Wait, Barclays is now APSA?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
no more
okay.
blue, it's now red.
Oh, I didn't know that. My bad.
Yeah.
But Elikim, you said I should call, but when
Yeah.
I call, I don't think they respond to my call. So
Oh,
how do I do that?
okay. I use call figuratively, like reach out to them. Some have active social media on Twitter. Some have provide information on their websites. And you can actually call. I think they would answer, unless you mean like calling right now. That's 7:42 GMT. Some of them operate 247 call centers. But yeah, when during daytime working hours Ghana time, you can call or send them an email. Check their website. Their websites are usually a good place to start. Yeah. Does Kojo, does that work for you? Hi Kojo, does that work for you?
Yes, it does. It does. Thank you. Sorry, it does.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Great. So Prince shot me a message. I'll read it on his behalf, and he's saying investing in CDs is good for Ghanaians, and we must know that holding your investment over the long haul will make up for inflation. So yeah, thinking about the long haul, thinking long term. Ghanaians are fond of thinking, look, someone will come to you, Charlie, I want to do investments. Oh, how long? Oh, I want to keep my money for a long time. How long? 6 months. Bruv, you are barely in the like scratching the short term. Like 6 months is so short in investment balance. But I know in Ghana, 6 months sounds like a long term. But guys, when it comes to investing, 6 months is such a short time. So think long term and it would help you out. Um, let's hear from Bridget. Or okay, or Jennifer, I had asked earlier if you wanted to say something. So please go ahead. Then we hear from Bridget.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that I know we are really fascinated with dollar investments in Ghana. Like, if you tell somebody I have a dollar investment, it seems as if you've reached self actualization. So it's almost like sometimes the prestige that we just want to have some so that we are good. But it's good that you do at least some due diligence and do some comparisons, like what Elikem is talking about, before you head into something, and then before you get there and you realize that it's not as you thought it would be. So yeah, thank you.
Oh my days, Jennifer, you are shaking some tables for me. See, there are some clients I've had some clients in the past who had dollar investments and $10,000, $5,000. I appreciate that it's a huge chunk of money. If you convert it to CDs too, it's still a huge chunk of money. But because the symbol in front of the number is 10,000, the attitude that they'll give you, the stress that they'll give you, the prestige that they want you to give them. Of course, I will give good customer service, but there's certain air to it that they have. Someone with, I'm comparing $10,000 to someone with 200,000 CDs, 300,000 CDs, 500,000 CDs, even a million doesn't come with that pomp and gallantry as the person with the 10,000. So the prestige that I said is true. That dollar sign that you know, say there is no I logo league, it wine himself, it's just giving them some kind of extra flex that they have with it. My Charlie, if your goal is to make money, grow your wealth at a reasonable return, it's not about the prestige. It's really a numbers game. Who will give you more numbers, right? Who add more numbers to your current numbers? So guys, let's calm down on the prestige side. Okay, great. Bridget, we've been itching to hear your voice, so please go ahead.
Hi.
Hi, Bridget.
Hello. Hey. Um yes, this is very interesting topic. So one time I wanted to invest in Ghana. I went to Ghana to no invest. And I went to this private, I think it's a private bank, I don't remember the name. And they refused to allow me to, get in their system because apparently they needed only Ghanaian citizens. And since I wasn't, they denied me the privilege to invest. Um, Ever since I had not, like, I don't really know, I lost interest in the Ghanaian stuff. Recently, someone introduced me to this IUL, the Index Universal Life Insurance, and I heard that one is the is a thing that's going on right now. That's the biggest investment, or there's something that you can actually rely on, that you don't have to even worry about whether the system is crashing or not. It's safe and all that. I'm not sure if you have any idea on it, if you want to elaborate on it or educate us on, that kind of investment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your questions. I'll take the first one and then I'll take the second one. Mimi, I'll be calling on you to help with the second one. But first, to get some clarity on the first question, which year was this when you came to Ghana to try and you tried opening the account?
It was 2012.
2012. Okay, okay. I can assure you that things have changed in the last 9 years. The finance industry some years ago uh, were not so friendly to financial inclusion. So now there's financial inclusion is a big deal now, where we are trying to get more people to open bank accounts and stuff, right? I recall David was talking about Barclays many years ago. Before you open an account in Barclays, in fact, being a Barclays client was prestige, because the hoops you have to jump through. You need someone to refer you. You need to have a certain high minimum just to open a normal account, right? But now things have improved. Now the people are even chasing people to open accounts. So I strongly encourage you, call up a few Ghanaian banks, and find out what they have to offer you. You can open accounts from where you are in the US. Foreigners can open accounts. Foreigners do investments here. So I encourage you to search again. You can hit me up on the after this. Just send me a message and we can look into options, more specific options for you. But I've mentioned a few institutions that you can consider, especially the ones with international acclaim. But don't forget our very own Ghanaian ones, GCB, Cowbank, Fidelity, and Co. Okay, so the second part. So Bridget, a few red flags with what you were saying. When someone says they want to tell you about an investment, and they blend the term insurance with it, I encourage you to pause and seek a second opinion from a professional, because insurance is one thing, and investing is another thing. All right. So a lot of times, especially in Ghana, people don't really appreciate insurance. I really wish Prince was available, but he'll probably send me a message for me to read out loud. So uh, insurance is a contract. See insurance as a contract that you pay someone to cover your risk. You are not sure if something can go wrong in future, or it's possible that something can go wrong with something in your life. Maybe if you die ahead of planned, or a family member dies ahead of planned, you want to make sure that there's sufficient money to take care of the back. If you speak to you, send you need sufficient money to take care of it. If it's funeral insurance, you need to have sufficient money to pay the funeral bills. If you fall sick, it's health insurance. You need sufficient money to take care of that event. Or if it's your car, if you get into an accident, there'll be sufficient money to take care of repairs for your car. That's insurance. You are paying someone so that if something goes wrong, they'll reimburse you for your future expenses. That's insurance. Now, investing is when you put money away, or you buy an asset. So more like, yeah, you put money away, you transform money into a certain asset with the intention that that asset or that investment will grow in value or provide you some income in future. See, so these two things are different. However, sometimes insurance products have some investment linkage to attract people, especially in Ghana, where people don't really appreciate insurance. Don't worry, God's got us, Charlie. God forbid, nothing will happen to us. We'll be fine. But someone is always falling sick and doesn't have health insurance. It happens. We don't really appreciate risk so much yet. It's the awareness is coming up. You can refer to previous sessions that we've had where we spoke about insurance, right? So in that case, you really need to separate the two. A person is saying that IUL. I looked it up. Indexed Universal Life. It's a concept in insurance, but I think I can. It's safe to say that it's not all the rave. It's not all the rave in Ghana. So if the person is just making a selling point about it being all the rave in Ghana, don't worry, calm down, seek a second opinion on it. I don't think you should consider that as a dedicated investment in a product. That opinion, David, what do you think?
So the UIL index universal index life insurance thing that she's talking about, in my part of the world, it's something that has gone viral. It feels like people just woke up and realized that this is a product that can be sold. Everywhere you go, that's all that's being talked about. Even on Clubhouse, it's like everywhere. They're bombarding me and everyone else on LinkedIn, everywhere, and that's all they're talking about. And a lot of times you find that they're recruiting people that know next to nothing about finances, and they're the ones that are pushing these products. I'm not here to say whether it's good or it's bad, but based on my experience, I'm with you with the part where an insurance and an investment are two different things, and once you combine them, then I tend to have so many other questions. I am yet to have any one of those reps actually explained to me to my satisfaction. That's just me. But whether or not it's a good thing to be in, I can't say yet, because I don't feel like I've gotten enough of an explanation to the point where I'm comfortable doing it. So that's what I have to say about that one. Thank you.
They call it
thank you,
family
David.
bank.
Okay,
Because
Bridget,
based on the little that I've heard, right? At some point, you need to get, it's something that when you buy, at some point, you need to get somebody else to also buy in to sort of like take, like to continue it so that you can get your benefit. Almost like what do you call it? A pyramid scheme type of thing.
Network marketing.
Yes, right? That's what I have, based on what I've been able to understand about it. And I know one person that did it way back in the day that was able to get money out of it and, go do something with it. And they loved it. But when they explained it to me, they told me that they had to go get somebody else to basically come in and kind of not necessarily assume their risk, but something along those lines. And to me, you want to separate your insurance products from your investment products. But, it's a thing that everybody is selling. When you see the rooms in Clubhouse where they're talking about those things, it's like 200 plus people in there. And yeah, I'm still kind of on the fence about that. It's the fact that it's not for me doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but you know, ask a lot of questions. The worst thing you could do for yourself is to not ask enough questions, to not be comfortable with what it is that you're putting your money into, especially since the folks that are talking about it are making all kinds of guarantees. And when it comes to investment, one thing I know is that the word guarantee is almost non-existent. You can't guarantee anything. But then these folks are guaranteeing all kinds of things. Even when the market crashes, you're guaranteed to make X amount of money. You can pull some money out of it and do this and do that. But in insurance, when you're pulling money out, then it's affecting whatever benefits you can get at the end of the when something happens. So yeah, there's a lot of for me. There's a lot there that I haven't been able to get. Maybe whoever explained it to you or to other people was able to explain it very, very well, the ins and outs of it. But again, I can't stress enough, ask a lot of questions to the point where you're satisfied before you get into it. Otherwise, get in with be very, very cautious. Don't get into it. Thank you.
I have a question. So you were saying that there's a difference between insurance and investment. Or am I wrong? Just correct me.
Yep.
Maybe I didn't hear. Okay, so
Yes.
is an insurance not an investment?
Nope.
That's my question.
So
It's
pure.
not?
So plain vanilla, simple investment insurance simply is not an investment. However, it can there are a lot of products that are insurance, but they also bundle investments. It's like going to need a good analogy. It's like going to buy, let's say, do your service with your vehicle's maintenance service with let's say a certain mechanic, and that mechanic says, well, while you are here, or to attract you to make it more reasonable for you to come, I'll open up a cafe, right? This may sound a bit rudimentary, but I'm trying to do that example. It doesn't mean the mechanic is now a restaurant or he's now a cafe business. You know, he fixes cars, but while you are waiting, he's giving you a worthwhile service. All right. Bringing it back to the example of finance and investments versus insurance. Remember, insurance, pure play, simply put, is you are paying someone to take on your risk. You don't know if your car will get into an accident. You don't know if when you fall sick and you go to the hospital and you can't afford the bills. You don't know when you will die and your family will need money. Maybe you are the breadwinner. They will need money to take care of your back. You don't know. That's the thing. Uncertainty, risk. I don't know when. I don't know how much. I don't know something. So you are paying someone a premium for that person to promise you that don't worry, when that event happens, I'll give you money, or I'll make you whole again. I'll replace your car. I'll fix your car. I'll pay your hospital bills. I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. You get the two. There are ways that you can use an investment, an insurance to behave like an investment. All right. I don't want to get too much into that. We had those conversations in November. Mimi, it was in November, right? The insurance conversations. That was just before Christmas.
Yeah, so that's
Yes. So I would refer you to those conversations. I just don't want to muddy the water because it got quite complicated. But if you are starting off and you want to understand these things, understand that's what insurance is. Pay someone to take on your risk, to reimburse you in case something happens. Investment is I put my money in something and I expect my money to grow or to give me some level of income over time. That's investment. You see, so that's why they are the two. But yeah, could you does that help clarify?
Yes, it does. Thank you. It does. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just read Prince's submission. Prince is a resident insurance expert, but he's unable to speak, so he's typing to me. So and he says insurance is insurance and investment is investment. We should, I'll see, use my own word, we should not bundle the two. All right. And he's saying insurance is a financial planning tool that gives you enough money to protect yourself and your family before you are able to build enough money for yourself. Insurance is a financial planning tool. And to even harp on this example, let's say right now you may not have $100,000. I'm using dollars because based in the US. Or let me just use cedis. Ghanaians will understand. You don't have 100,000 cedis right now, but you can get an insurance policy that gives you coverage for 100,000. Touch with something happens to you, you are gone. But now your family has an extra 100,000 cities. They'll cry, but their tears will hit a check of 100,000 cities. Sounds a bit trivial, but those are the ways that you can use insurance as a financial planning tool. I wouldn't want to get too much into that, but just to clarify the basic difference between insurance and investment. One is insurance is for someone to promise to pay you back if something happens. While investment, you are investing so that your money can grow or you can get income from that endeavor that you put in. Coach, does that help?
Yeah, as Papa was saying, there's always been this thing on the media that get life insurance, Geico, and all the, Vanguard and all that kind of stuff, and so it's like I was seeing it to be like an investment for like generations to come. So maybe I have like a life insurance for my wife and my kids, and so it's like I'm investing into that. So when anything happens, you know, but I get your rationale. Like, as in you do something, you're investing to get a certain amount of result behind. So I was just seeing that in a different sphere, if that makes sense. So that's what I was asking. Like, why is insurance not an investment? But I get your explanation as well.
Okay. It's a very good question very good questions you and Bridget have asked, and it's getting us to discuss certain things. And these are concerns that people have. These are thoughts that people have because people are selling insurance to them. So thank you too for sharing these questions. Let's hear from Simon. And to our speakers, just flash your mic if you want to jump in on the conversation, and I would invite you up. So, Simon, welcome to our conversation. It's a recorded session, and today we are talking about Cedi investments versus dollar investments in the context of investments in financial institutions licensed by regulators in Ghana. That's licensed by the Bank of Ghana or the Securities and Exchange Commission. We are trying to narrow that scope. So, yeah, what would you like to ask or share on this topic?
So thanks. I'm actually not Ghanaian, I'm Kenyan. So I was just listening in to the conversation. But then I thought I could jump in on insurance. So I work in the life insurance industry, like one of the biggest life insurance companies in the world. And I thought it would be best to like clarify that thought that life insurance is a pyramid scheme. So generally, life insurance, what they do, it's generally like a bank. So you give them money, and then they go and invest that money and generate a return. So if they've promised you a particular return, they're going to recover it through how they invest that money. So it's not like a pyramid scheme where you're paid money out of whatever money people are contributing or something like that. It's generally your money, and then based on what you have agreed with them, that's how they go and invest your money. So for instance, if you said like you want a guarantee of 10% for the next 10 years, they're going to put that money in something that is going to deliver that amount. And then they're also held accountable by regulators. It's a very highly regulated industry, similar to banks. So I think it's insurance, like they sell products that are very similar to investment products. So it's not something that I will be too concerned about, and it's a great product for financial planning for your beneficiaries.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Simon. Thank you so much. It's good to hear that people tuning in from Kenya and also your angle on the insurance part. David, you want to respond?
I just wanted to clarify that I wasn't necessarily saying that life insurance is a pyramid scheme. I was just saying that the indexed universal life that's the craze of now that everybody is selling, based on the explanation that I was getting, it had that kind of feel to it. Like I said, I still haven't gotten a good explanation of that whole product to my satisfaction where I'd want to put my money into it. But based on maybe the person that was explaining it wasn't doing it a good job, but based on what I got, it felt more like that. But I wasn't necessarily saying that life insurance as a whole. No, that's a very, very good thing. Everybody should get one. I wasn't saying that life insurance as a whole was a pyramid scheme. No. I just want to clarify that part. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you, David, for that clarification. I think someone wants to respond, but before that, I no, I, I could feel where Simon was coming from, and this is where in Ghana, especially, we've had if we've had certain unscrupulous people selling investment products in ways that are, should I say, deceptive. Now, the National Insurance Commission is clamping down on false advertising, making sure that there are good disclosures and all that. But we are coming from that history. So whenever I hear someone say insurance and investment in the same sentence, I ask them to pause and explain it well. So, like David was saying, explain it well enough for me, and it's at that point that you can make that determination. It's I could say a tractor is good, a minivan is good, a bicycle is good, but I'd like to be sold a tractor knowing that I want to go and do some farm work, rather than be sold a tractor and and be told that I can use the tractor to bus my whole family to school and do shopping rounds and stuff, right? So it's really about having that clarity, letting people getting who are coming to buy the product, whatever product it is, insurance or investment, let them buy it with full understanding. Just this week on a dollar investments that I am part of the team that we manage. A client had an investment maturity. The money is available, and we are looking at other avenues for the person to invest. And I was trying very I wasn't trying too hard to sell it. I explained it. I told her the pros and cons. It's an investment linked to with the underlying as government of Ghana Eurobond. So there's some level of safety from the government, and but this client wasn't understanding the fact that she can't get guaranteed returns. She's used to a certain type of investment, but she can't. This new type can't give her a certain guaranteed. Okay, so tell me that I'll get 8%, I'll get 5, even if it's 2%. Tell me that I will get it. In my industry, I can't make certain promises. So I told her that, well, I understand that she can't. She that feature, that particular feature, or that feature is missing, may not work for her. And she was like, hey, it's like you don't need the money, eh? You're not, it's like you're not trying to work hard enough to get my business. And at that point, I can't shove a product down her throat. If it doesn't meet her desires, it doesn't meet her needs, I really can't force it, and it's fine for me. And I go to bed sleeping soundly because I know that I'm not mis-selling to someone. So we need more people in whatever part of the finance industry that you are in, whatever professional you are, to do the right thing, sell right, explain things to people. And I can imagine being in an industry where I'm the professional doing the right thing and other people are mis-selling. It would it would put all the good work and put doing rubbish. Give me a bad name, and I can imagine that's really frustrating. So it's good that we have these conversations, put out good information, and when we don't have sufficient information, we ask people, seek a second opinion, seek a second professional opinion, to get better understanding. And if the stories line up and it makes sense, yeah, go ahead. So yeah, okay, all right. So back to the topic, CD investments versus dollar investments. I had a conversation about it. We had some questions to ask. So I would strongly encourage anyone who is thinking about this. Yes, it seems like the CD is depreciating very fast. Imported goods, the cost of imported goods are rising. A whole lot of costs are going up because the CD is depreciating. Should you buy into the hype? Should you invest in a dollar investment to protect your value so that you don't lose value? Maybe you are thinking about paying for some school fees denominated in dollars. Should you do that kind of investment now? Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. What are your individual circumstances? You need to ask yourself, how much return will I get on the dollar? Usually they are quite low. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%. If you even get an investment like this, they are quite rare. So if you can get one, and I'm talking about the safer ones in financial institutions where things are structured. How much do you think the CD is going to depreciate moving into the future? Is the CD going to depreciate 10% consistently? That's every year 10%. And I'll remind you, the CD has depreciated in the most recent 5 years on an average of 6.9. And I would mention the numbers. 2017, 4.8%. 2018, 8.3%. 2019, 12.9. That's almost 13%. 2020, 3.9%. 2021, 4%, making an average of 6.9%. But yes, there have been worse times, and I'll show you what the worst times look like. 2012, almost 16%. 2013, 12.8%. 2014, 32.4%. 2015, 15.7%. Those are bad times. Those were consistently bad times. Consistently high CD depreciation. Our CD was losing value at a fast rate over a period of time. That is a scenario. If you believe we are in that kind of setting, we are facing those kind of conditions. Yeah, I'd encourage you consider it as a dollar investment if you are in Ghana. But remember, yeah, it's hard to find. You need sufficient return, but don't let your desire to take on a lot of return lead you into risky investments that would promise you high rates, and then trying to chase some extra 5%, and then you lose all your 100% of your money. You don't want to do that. I don't want to see you in that kind of position. So yeah, that's another thought to think about. The charges related to them are quite high, but remember, you could do a CD investment, a similar CD investment. If you want to play very safe, 1 year treasury bill is around 16, 17%. You could do a longer term government investment, a government bond, 18, 19, 20%. So it's competitive. And remember that the city's depreciation is already factored into some of these rates because foreigners also invest. So we need to make it worth their while so that they can bring their dollars, convert to cedis, do their CD investment, convert back to dollars, and take their money away without losing much. So it's really something you should think about. Any other thoughts on this question? And I'm curious, has anyone here done a dollar investment while they were in Ghana? I know that David and Kojo, they have access to the Charles Schwab and Fidelity and Co. So they can do dollar investments. But for those of us domiciled in Ghana, does anyone have any experience doing dollar investments? You can, if you are too shy to speak, you can send me a message, and I'll share your experience anonymously. Kojo, you want to share your thoughts?
It's not necessarily a thought. It's a question. This is coming from I would say an uneducated person in aspect of finances. Okay, so it may sound dumb, but I guess there's nothing like a dumb question. So why does depreciation happen, and what causes depreciation?
Oh, heavy. Oh boy. Okay, Jennifer, would you like to support me with this one? I am saying oh boy because I don't want to get too technical. I'm afraid I may get too technical. Please, Jennifer, would you like to get in there?
Yeah. So depreciation is as a result of demand and supply of a foreign currency. So if a lot of people are demanding, let's say we are using Ghana. So if people in Ghana are demanding a lot of USD as compared to the Ghana cedi, that means that they are selling a lot of Ghana cedis and then demanding USD. If the demand outweighs the supply, which means the people that are willing to sell the USD to Ghanaians or people demanding it from Ghana, then it will push it up, it will push the price up. Let me use a car. A lot of people want to buy, let's say, this particular car, and the supply is small, so the demand is outweighing supply. Price will go up. If price goes up, it's the same way that will affect the USD. So if, let's say, for instance, the USD price goes up as compared to Ghana cedi, that means that for the same $1, you need to have a lot more Ghana cedis to be able to afford that $1. So at first, if we're able to use 5 cedis to buy $1, now because the demand has gone up, you need to use 5.5 to buy the same $1. And that difference between the 5 and 5.5, we say that the cedi has depreciated by 50 pesos. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. It
Yeah.
does. It really
Okay.
does.
And also to follow the analogy Jennifer was given about the exchanging money. When we think about currencies and or money, it sounds like money. We use money to buy items. We don't use money to buy money. It sounds weird. So that's where sometimes it comes up. I've been there before. In my early stages of as a student, it was one of international business, banking, and finance. It was one of the tough courses until the light bulb
I
finally goes off.
promise.
It happened, Jennifer. Happened to you too.
It was one of the toughest exams. Yes.
Yeah, it's so yes, Kojo. This is in no way a stupid question. It took us after we are practicing 10 years. What 10 years after I started university education? So I'm saying it easily. Jennifer is saying it easily, but when we started, Charlie, it was tough, right? But so following on the analogy, when we stop looking at these currencies as money and we start looking at it as items like barter trade, then we start understanding it better. So perfect example. Could you're also in Maryland, right?
No, I'm in Virginia. I'm in
Ah,
Woodbridge. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Woodbridge, Virginia,
Wood.
Charlie. I would do one.
When I
Yeah, I
do
can show what. Why a popsicle by now?
normal, normal.
Okay, so Virginia, let's say you are holding dollars, or you came down for 30 December. I met you somewhere in town, and you are holding dollars, and I'm holding CDs. I'll rather have to hold the 200 Ghana notes because the 10 CD, 20 CD to be too much to have to match you. All right, so holding my bundle of 200 CDs, you are holding your bundle of $100 bills. Now we look at these things as two items, not money. Look at it as two items. Now you know that this item you are holding, people like it, especially in December. People need it to go and get other items in Abrotri. If you want to do international trade, even if it's China you are buying it from, the world kind of uses the USD is like the world's money. The Chinese person will take it in dollars, and then when they get to China, they will convert it, or when they get to their bank in China, then they will convert it to the yuan for them on the renminbi. Same if it's Japanese. Same if it's in Europe, fine. It's the euro that they'll be taking. But you want to use it to go and buy some toy cars, you want to use it to buy some Heineken, a crate of Heineken, or a container full of Heineken, or a containner full of chichinga, or whatever. Well, whatever you're importing. So you know that dollar that you are holding, more people who are holding the CD want it. So, but the thing is, you have a limited supply. You have only what is in your hand. So imagine 5 people suddenly approach you on Oxford Street. Oh, boss, Charlie, we don't want your dollar. We will give you some of our CD. We want your dollar. We'll give you some of our CDs. Who would you give your dollars to? The person who will give you more CDs, right?
Yes.
Aha. And that's how it happens. So as more CDs, so supply and demand, as more CDs has to get the same dollar, then it's like it's like tug of war. If more people are needed to come and pull the line, then you people are really weak. So that's where you weaken. Then we say the city is weakening because now more people and more cities are needed to get the same number of dollars. So yeah, and that's another analogy for how the city depreciates or how currencies depreciate. Jennifer, you want to come back?
So he just asked how does it happen, and I just wanted to say that usually when people want to buy things outside, they need to change to dollars. So when there are a lot of imports, then you realize that a lot of people are demanding the dollar to go and buy goods outside Ghana. And when that happens, then the CD depreciates very, very fast. So the Bank of Ghana is trying to um, prevent us from depreciating so fast by having some import cover that will um help people who are demanding the dollar to import to have a steady supply and not demand it so much that it will fall down very fast. Yes. Thank you.
True. And to give an example, so could you are familiar with MT and the telco, right?
You said MTN and what?
MT and the telco, the telecommunications company.
Oh yes, yes I am.
So you know that it's so big now. It's listed, so we see the numbers. It's so big, especially I know this came up during the IPO in 2018. That conversation. I think it still comes up because the parent company in South Africa is still a large shareholder. So when they are paying dividends, any money leaving Ghana goes through Bank of Ghana. So you may think you are transferring it to someone in South Africa. Now it's your bank has to interface with the Bank of Ghana, let them know that, okay, please, this is what we are coming to do. How far? Then the Bank of Ghana can moderate that transaction. So when they are when they declare dividends and they want to repatriate it to South Africa, they actually have to have conversations with the Bank of Ghana for the Bank of Ghana to check, okay, the timing is right, or you stagger it, do it small, because the company is so large and our economy is so small, it can have that impact. If it's where the US, this was way bigger than one MTN. It happens with big industries, high value industries, oil and gas, the mining companies, they deal with huge volumes of money. So those kind of things can influence currency to move. So they program these kind of transactions so that as you are taking money out of Ghana, it wouldn't affect our currency too much. So yeah, that's another scenario of how the CD can depreciate.
Thank you so much, Jennifer and Elekem, for clarifying this thing. Because I was talking to a friend of mine. It was like, you can buy money. I'm like, how do you buy money? And I'm just like out here trying to figure out how money can buy money. It doesn't make sense to me. But thank you guys for the education.
You're welcome. We are at your service. And yes, for more education, please do follow us here on Clubhouse. Follow us on social media on Twitter. It's Money Convos GH. Or you can send us an email at moneyconvosgh@gmail.com. On Instagram, on Facebook, just follow us. Wherever you listen to your podcast, search for Money Convos. We record our sessions and put them up on the podcast and on YouTube so you can play back. And now Clubhouse has this wonderful feature where you can play back and even listen at faster speed. I prefer to listen to things at 1.5 plus speed. So if you're into that, yeah, it's your vibe. We have these conversations on Thursdays at 7 p.m. So next week we are looking to have a conversation still on the topic of likely investments people can do on real estate investing, not just real estate as in your home, but real estate as an investment. So we are looking to have that conversation. So hey, if you are an expert in that field, send me a message or anyone on the upstage a message, and let's include you in that conversation. Let's see how we can help people grow their wealth through real estate investments. Last week we talked about cryptos. Today we are talking about CD versus dollar investments, which one can help you with your goal of earning higher return to create wealth. And so, yeah, next week it's real estate investing. Prince, are you in a position to speak now?
Yes, boss. Good evening.
Good evening, Prince. Nice to hear your voice.
Charlie, thank you very much. I've really learned a lot today from the explanation from the gurus, Jennifer, Mimi, Alikem, Papa. I mean, Simon, I've Kojo, I've enjoyed the conversation very much. And just to also chip in something small, I believe in since we are in a country, your own country of domicile, which is Ghana. When you do a CD investment, you even tend to enjoy more because, as Elekem rightly said, investors even investing in Ghana even has the regulators have made the factored it into the return rate of return. So you in Ghana investing in CD, you tend to enjoy more because at the end of the day, when those investors are bringing money in Ghana, they are also being compensated. So why do you want to use that opportunity to enjoy more of this compensation uh, that is being given to the foreign investor by investing in your own currency, which I believe is a prudent thing. And anytime I sit with a client, I will choose a CD investment over a dollar because you are in Ghana. It's just like I cite an example that just like you being in UK and you spending pounds and you say you want to invest in Ghana cedis. I mean, to me, it doesn't sound right to me. When you know the pound is bigger and way more in value than even the cedi. So we should look at those dynamics, right? For the point where I think Papa brought in some bit of insurance, I always tell people that the Ghana insurance industry, they are not developing innovative products because all the products that they have is universal linked, which has an investment component and an insurance component, right? So I always tell people that if you really want to do investment, the bankers are the best people to talk to. They can help you do an investment plan that can help you. But if you give your money to an insurance company to do an investment on your behalf, you are just using them as a middleman. And anytime there is a middleman within a transaction, you know that somebody is getting a cut somewhere. And for the past years I've been in the industry, I've met clients that will tell you they have investment, and you ask them which bank, and they will tell you, okay, they have investment with Glyco, they have investment with Enterprise. You request for their policy statement, and you know that these monies they paid, they can never realize it back from the insurance company because they are only taking care of your risk. So it's either you die to get your death benefit or you live to get the investment, the small portion of the investment that they have given you. And the rate of return is not more than 5%, which makes it a very bad investment for you. So anytime you look at insurance, picture it like you having a car and going to the insurance company. The insurance company is only going to protect you and compensate you by the value of the car. They are not going to ask you that give me some money to also invest for you so that when your car gets an accident, I will pay you another investment at the side. They only take what you brought, which is your car. So when you are doing the same applies to life. It's the life that the industry, they have not developed the product very well. So the product, they have their gimmicks in the product. So sometimes you meet people, they buy it, and the insurance is also very technical. So if you don't get the explanation, you meet them in the corridors of banks on the way and they want to push those products to you. Just be careful and make sure that you are doing the right thing. Thank you very much, Elikem, for the wonderful education tonight.
Thank you too, Prince, for the angle from the experience of an investment professional in Ghana. Okay, guys. So, David, any more thoughts you want to share? Any questions that you may have? And actually, what do you think? If in your case, what would you do? What would your answer be? Would you invest in CD or would you invest in dollar? What would you do, David?
So I would definitely do dollars for one reason and one reason only. I live here and I spend dollars. But I have been open to doing some city stuff for a while. I mentioned it here multiple times that I have an account at Cow Brokerage that I'm having trouble with. But based on this conversation, now I think I might even be willing to do a bit more in Ghana with the cities because I haven't really done much there, and the stuff that I did with Cal, I opened a brokerage account to try to get into the Ghanaian stocks and stuff, and one of the biggest problems for me has been data. When you go on the website, there's zero to nothing at all on the websites. Maybe over the years it's improved, but back when I wanted to do it, it was nothing. I couldn't have a website to go and look at financials for like the past 10, 15 years or anything like that. But with this conversation, I think I might be open to doing a bit more in Ghana. Thank you.
Nice, nice.
So sorry to. Initially, I had this plan. Not really. I had this plan. Yeah, I had this plan, but I also had it somewhere that you can create an account in Ghana and you can invest, like, cause put money in there so it grows. Or I heard about this treasury bills and the bonds and all that kind of stuff, but I haven't really done much research about it. Um, so I think, when was it, last year or this year? No, last year, last 2 years, I wanted to go to Ghana, and I told my mom that she should create an account not in my name, because I don't have the cards that they might use to verify my identity in Ghana. So she created one for me in EcoBank, and I have been, once in a while, just put something in there, you know. And the funny thing is, the I cannot access the EcoBank details on my end, So I'm like, I mean, of course, my mom tells me how much I have in there and all that kind of stuff. But maybe, what if I want to do a transfer from what I have here and just directly, instead of sending it to her and then she being a third party. So sometimes it might be a bit um of an issue. So if you can clarify that, I don't know if I'm the only person who's suffering from that.
That has definitely been a struggle of mine too. And I opened an account at Barclays Bank that I was trying to do something like that with, and it wasn't happening. I tried to, somebody told me about this other bank. It was a Nigerian bank. I don't remember the name. I went in there and, I stood there for like 15, 20 minutes, and the customer service reps weren't bothered enough with me. They were rather discussing some party they went to that weekend. And I walked out of there so deflated, like, are you guys serious? But anyway, I think over the years, some of the banks in Ghana have that ability where if you're here, you can log into your account and see all your money or whatever you have with them. And it's easy to move stuff around. I don't know if they've gotten to a point where you can move stuff between your account here and your account in Ghana as seamlessly as we do it over here. But maybe Elikem and the rest can maybe shed some light on that.
But David, Unyabutro, we'll go. You see that you
Master,
just
I
need
was
15
standing there
minutes.
15, 20 minutes. What
Hey.
was important about that party that you went to? Some girl who was pregnant and didn't have by some boy who wasn't even dating her and all that you could even stop for 2 minutes to address the guy who was in front of you, ready to open an account and put some money in your bank. Master.
Charlie. It's true. That was an unfortunate event. I hope that they stop doing that. But yeah, it's we have longer waiting times. We have in Ghana longer waiting times, require some more patience. But it's usually the hassle is when you have to set up the accounts. Once it's done, it's on. It's easy, and especially when you don't have to go to the branches. Like you mentioned, a lot of the financial institutions have the apps and websites that you can log in on to see your account details. Like I work at Data Bank, we have our app that you can use to see your accounts online. So that's doable. Now the concern becomes when you are trying to move your money from Ghana to Abuja, e.g., US. And this concern is not only in the investment space. If anyone is here and they've tried sending money from Ghana to the US or to Europe to a cousin or a sister, a family member studying abroad, you get the kind of constraints that is involved. The ones that can go faster, hassle free, are very expensive to do. So all these things are some things that the central bank puts in there for to monitor the kind of flows because it can affect the cedi and the depreciation. And so even for me, I work in an asset management company. We are not a universal bank to do those kind of transactions. So we'll still have to go through a universal bank. And we encourage our people, our clients, get an account in a universal bank like Stanchart, Stanbic, GCB, EcoBank, those kind of banks. And then let us send the money there, and then you deal with them, because that kind of stress, it's real. But things are opening up with time and may get better. So I'm going to hope. But if you are abroad and you are trying to invest in Ghana, I strongly encourage you to do it with a mindset that it's for the long term and perhaps it's for your needs in Ghana. But when you have to repatriate it, give yourself enough room so that you go through all the due diligence to see what's the best option for you to move it. It's not, Charlie, I need my money tomorrow matter. Nah, you calm down, you give it enough room, a month or two, so that all these processes can take place. Okay, all right. So I have a colleague and good friend, Joyce, joining up on stage. Joyce, what would you like to share with us? Oh, perhaps if you could give a bit of your background to why at it. If you are speaking, you are muted, so you can go ahead.
Hi, Elikem. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great. I've actually been listening in on the conversation, and I don't know if I missed it, but there's one aspect that I've not really heard much discussion around, but it's about the cost of investment. So I think personally, when it comes to considering whether to do CD or dollar investments, what comes to mind readily is the cost. So I heard David say that because he's in the States and he earns in dollars, it's easier for him to invest in dollars. And that makes sense, right? Because over here, if you are thinking of investment, you are thinking of what the source of your income is and what the charge will be. Right. So if you have to invest in dollars and you have CDs and you now have to convert that, you'll probably be charged for the person who converts the money for you will charge you. Then before you even invest, you have to set up an account. You have to consider all the charges that are involved and then see if there's a real return or you are going to make more money if you invest the CD that you have versus if you convert it into dollars and invest in dollars in the long term. So I think for me, that's something that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. I don't hear a lot of people talk about, okay, I'm investing and this is the cost. Even when it comes to strict CD investment, I have friends who reach out, oh, I want to invest. They set up their accounts. Later on, in their investment journey, they reach out and they're like, oh, I invested this amount of money. I'm not seeing it grow as much. And I tell them, have you checked the cost or the fee that you are charged for running the account? And they're like, am I being charged a fee for running the account? And my question is, are you expecting it to be a free venture, right? Every business is in business for business. So you also have to compare. So if you are looking out for an investment, you want to see what their charges look like, because you may actually be making the return may look very good, but you're also being charged a very high fee for running the investment account. Yes, so that's what I have to add to the convo.
Thank you so much, Joyce. So do your due diligence, check what charges there are, how much it's going to cost you to do the investment. Some investments have a front load, some investments have an exit load if you leave ahead of time. Some investments also charge a running fee every month or every year or every quarter. There's a fee that's charged, and some of them, the way they are structured, you even see the money leaving your account. It reflects in the returns that you get. So you need to ask all these questions before you invest. Thank you so much again. Okay, all right. So without much ado, I'll just turn over to Mimi. Mimi, since you've been in listening mode and you've been learning, what would you like to say to anyone as someone who is also considering possible investments? You are considering crypto, you may be considering dollar, you may be considering real estate. What have you picked up from this, and what would you like people to leave with?
Yeah, I think it's being careful of the emotions and sentiments that go with certain investments. and taking your time to ask the hard questions. I think it's the same with real estate. Everybody thinks that it's a good investment. We don't ask questions, and we end up making bad choices. So something is not always good. It's dependent on the situation. So we have to probe further. For me, I wanted to diversify my portfolio a bit for different reasons. Apart from for investment reasons, I work as a financial planner, and I think it will be good for me to, you know, test certain or try investing in certain or doing certain investments to understand it better, so I can also be able to give good advice. So I decided to take on crypto for now, and later on in the year buy some stocks. And if you know me, I'm very conservative, so I've always gone with the safer options. But I decided to just, do that. I'm not doing it with any big amount, just something that even if it disappears, because those are highly volatile, even if it disappears, I'm cool with. And so, yeah, so I'll just say that it makes sense that we do our analysis, which can be difficult for you as an individual to do, because I mean, you have your profession, you have things that you are focused on. And so if you have an investment advisor or a friend, a financial planner, the person can help you with this, so that you can focus on what you are what you are good at. So basically, yeah, that's it. But it helps to have a basic understanding of what you should be looking out for.
Great. Thank you, Mimi. So we've heard it from someone who is also considering other investments to think about. I would just say for the last that yes, tune in again next week, Thursday, where we are likely to have a conversation about real estate investing. Not just real estate to build your own house and go and live inside, but real estate as an investment option. So if you are an expert or you know an expert in this, please do let us know. Send us a message, on the stage. Follow us and let's have a more engaging conversation. Yeah. So the question is CD investments versus dollar investments. Should you or should you not? My final answer is it depends. It depends on your needs. Do you have transactional need for dollars? Like, do you plan to spend in dollars in with that money that you are putting away? If your answer is yes, then it's likely an easy answer for to tell you that yes, invest in dollars. But that comes with also some more information that you need to know, certain risks, certain charges, certain things you need to consider. So do your due diligence. But is yours just a pure play making returns and you are based in Ghana and you intend to spend your money in Ghana? Then perhaps you'll be better compensated by doing a CD investment because it's already factors in that CD depreciation that you are so worried about. It usually factors it in. So get some advice that will suit your individual need. This was more of sharing some facts and some opinions about the topic. It's not to be considered as investment advice. Seek professional assistance to suit your individual needs. Thank you so much for spending your Thursday evening, or if you are chilling in Maryland and Virginia, like David and Kujo, your afternoon with us. We are really appreciate it and hope to hear from you next week. Bye bye.
For the folks that came because I pinged you, thank you for your time. I'm learning how to do this pinging thing, so I'm really glad that you came. I hope you learned something. This is your friend is saying Money Convos. We do this every Thursday, 7 p.m. Ghana time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. I hope you can join us next time. Thank you all.
Thank you, David.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for thinking people.
I also followed the mods as well, so you guys can also follow back. So whenever you guys open a room, I will just be part of it. Thank you.
Kujo, I
Sure.
got you.
Done.
I got you, bro.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our thoughts. I hope you learned a thing or two and start practicing. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook. And subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Do tell a friend about Money Convos so we all become wealthy together. Talk to you soon. Bye.